Hey collective, this reading is absolutely gorgeous. It's really, really powerful, and it talks about an ascension cycle you're going through and the power that you're stepping into right now. Now, obviously the title is Wakanda Forever, and I had to sit with that. I had to sit with myself and understand exactly what I'm looking at here, because we have a masculine and a feminine, both in their power seats. I'm connecting with both sexes. And in the action position with this 24 card, we're talking about the next 24 hours. A significant window of time for there to be change, activity, I want to say proposition, I want to say dynamics. I want to say fluid dynamics, but I want to say a real dynamic relationship shift, a really Let me slow down, because sometimes I just rabbit on and I let the words fly out my mouth. I don't control what I say. I don't think before I speak. I just let myself go, because I notice when I'm clairvoyantly channeling, when I think, I get in the way of the other side. I'm a conduit of energy. My job here as a clairvoyant intuitive reader is to step away from the earthly controls of my mind, which include my thought and cognition, and let the divine do the job. Yeah? Think before you speak. Think before you speak. I already thought long before my mouth even opened. The fact that I've even managed to open my mouth and move my tongue in anticipation means I've already long thought. Yeah? What is time? It's a mere illusion. And we're looking at that today. We're talking about that today with this 24 card. I love this energy, because not only are we looking at a really impactful 24 hours, we're looking at strength and resilience. And as soon as I looked at the Wakanda card, right, Wakanda Forever, this is Black Panther, but straight away, this whole energy gives me Wakanda Forever. It gives me potential biracial stuff going on, racism, activism. Doesn't have to be race, but straight away, when I looked at the spread, I was drawn to the story, not specifically of the plot of Black Panther, but what Black Panther means in the real world for Black people in the community in regards to Marvel's biggest Black movie, yeah? And what the first Black Panther meant for so many Black people, yeah? A lot of people who are not Black may not ever understand what it means to be in a Black dominated arena, field, movie, office space, concert, yeah? That is high up on the totem pole, worth a lot of money, has a lot of prestige, yeah? We don't want to go too left and right and start talking about white privilege and racism. There's enough content out all over the place about that. And it gets really cunty. That's what I wanted to say, honestly. It gets really cunty when we start picking and poking and prodding and tearing and defining. We do have to have these conversations. Look at the content on my channel on Hermetology Tales, and look at the white privilege piece I just done 2 weeks ago or last week on the channel for another zodiac sign, yellow thumbnail. Today we don't want to go there, because I don't feel like it's about that, but I really do want the gravity of the situation to be understood, that there is this empowerment when your community cannot be seen entirely and well represented. This may not be Black, so I want to broaden it out. It may not be black and white. It could be lesbian, it could be gay, it could be trans, it could be bi, it could be tech. It could be Bitcoin, it could be Ethereum, it could be any kind of network or social group where you're having a presence and all of you showing up means something, yeah? So if we use the black and white example for the last time on this call in the beginning, then we go, loads of Black people fight for there to be more of their kind in the environment, especially in environments that are seen to be more prestige, where DEI is not really valued in the space. Black people are activists for that, yeah? Whereas on the white side, and what could be seen as the far right at this time, they're advocating for the fact that they don't want their white peers to be excluded, and they're not as comfortable with their environments now being filled with more multiculturalism, because that's intimidating for them to see less white faces in the environment, and it feels unjust. So they're getting a little bit of this uncomfortable feeling of, whoa, why are they stripping all the white people from the rooms? Yeah? Where the black people have been on the other side of the spectrum long going, why are there no black people in these rooms? And why can't we even get in here? Yeah? Why do we feel secluded from that? And so the white and the black are saying the same thing. And they have the same insecurities, but it's based on bias, isn't it? It's based on bias of the self. My people must represent. And they're going, well, my people must represent. And I'm always going to the Jane Elliott experiment of it all, called Brown Eyes, Blue Eyes. One of my favourite things I ever watched. I want to say I was a developmentalist. I don't know if I'm allowed to claim that title or not. There's so many fucking titles in the world, who cares? But Jane Elliott, Brown Eyes, Blue Eyes project, which she first started doing in a school classroom, and I used to be a school teacher. She really advocated for Martin Luther King, and she really started to challenge the children's perceptions of racism through the ideology of privilege through blue eyes and privilege through brown eyes, and who could sit with who and do what throughout the day. It was an amazing experiment, incredibly influential in education for children, and like within a school setting, and massive for racism and discrimination, prejudice. She went on to do that in universities, colleges. Throughout her whole life, she's done documentaries in the UK on BBC, no, Channel 4. She done 2 different documentaries on Channel 4 over 2 windows of time, and a lot of people struggled. A lot of white people that were middle class, middle age, and really in corporate or institutions, kind of like business women, really lost the plot, like really fucking pissed off, really offended, really hurt. That's why I don't want to dive into this too deeply today, because I didn't come here to maim or wound. But I did come here, and my words are really fucked up today as well, guys. I can only apologise. It's flying out of my mouth, so I'm letting it go, and it's coming direct to you, but there's all this chip in my speech, whether that comes through or not. That could be a cognition thing. Do you see that? Cognition thing, a cognitive thing. I can't seem to work it out. I should probably think before I speak, but I like when I just go blah, and then it comes out, you know? The freedom of it all is gorgeous. So, with that in mind, that's the introduction, and we're 8 minutes in. We're not staying long today because it doesn't feel like we need to. You've got 24 hours to deal with whatever this is, and this is you stepping into your power. Once again, when I looked at this card, this black woman with the 2 circles, that screams Visca Piscus to me. That screams Undos. 1, 2, coming together, 1. That's alignment. I want to say creed, but I don't know why, because I don't know what I mean with that. But it's really like this powerful energy of alignment and oneness and now, right? And that's the mission and challenge position. It's we're standing up for what's right. And for so many of you guys, to me, it's beyond race. But I would encourage anyone on the planet to go and watch the Jane Elliott Brown Eyes, Blue Eyes experiment. And I would encourage you to watch every single one of them, and I would encourage you to watch them in order. I think it's a rite of passage for anyone on the planet. Watch what she does to the children back in the day, in school days, and then watch how she takes that experiment. She's a massive influence on my career. Everything I do on this channel, everything I do at hermatology.me, everything I've ever done in my life, it kind of goes back to that experiment and how empowering I found that and thought that was. And I have been inspired by her ways of working in major ways. There's a lot of experimentalists that do research like that, and they're my favourite kind of people, because they go off I want to say the reserve, I always say that now. They go off the reserve, they go in their own unique way, and they really discover stuff. And I developed ethno-shamanism, a shamanic approach that's rooted in ethnography, which is combining spirituality and a scientific methodology for research. And that comes from the beautiful works of people like Jane Elliott, people like Brian Weiss, people like James Van Praagh. I could talk about the greats that have passed on, like Carl Jung, however you say that. I always say both. I can't seem to ground myself on what to say after all these years still. Erik Erikson, Brodford Brunner, Vygotsky, the Boboldo experiments, the black husband and wife that done the earliest experiments on dolls, the white doll on the table and the black doll on the table, and everyone choosing the doll that they're most comfortable with. And it was really interesting to see how the white children, some of them would choose the black doll, and the black children would choose the white doll sometimes. And it was interesting what made them choose it and the conversations they would have, and them talking about which one they thought was more beautiful than the other, and so on and so forth. So I just think that's really interesting, because we're talking about ideologies of what is normal, what is grounded, what is community, what is purpose. For me, this could be simply a conversation of something like BTC is the way versus Ethereum's the way. Yeah? This approach is the way versus this approach is the way. I'm definitely on the left. They're definitely on the right. I'm definitely advocating for lesbians and not this, or transgenders and not this. I definitely don't believe in that. There's something that whoever I'm connecting with is now coming into union, into a formal classification of this is it. This is forever. This is Wakanda, this is grounding, it gives me El Nagati Kamiya, it gives me Avatar. I say that because Avatar, personally for me, is about kinship, oneness, ceremony. If you watch the first ever episode of Avatar, first movie, you see how Sully's not accepted and he's not really one of them. Yeah, but you see that he becomes integrated, and then he becomes one, he feels one, and then he goes through the ceremony to be one. And it's such a beautiful, immersive, deep story. It gives me that. It gives me this really soulful belonging. And then in the second Avatar, which we've waited years and years and years for, he is now so deep in the tribe, and it's the journey and the struggles that he had to even be included is beyond that now, because now we're fighting for something even more profound. Yeah, and there's still war. There's always war, and we see that in these images. And it makes me think about all the wars we have in life. We've got USA and Iran. We've got serious oil crisis. We've got living crisis. We've got energy crisis. The war in Iran is affecting everyone because of the oil. And this is about nuclear power, and this is very incredibly significant for Industry 4 and Industry 5 that is just right behind it and over the hill. We're giving it time, we're praying it doesn't come in too soon, but we are in the middle of a nuclear war, and we should all be really conscious of that. And that's off the back of other wars that have been going on, because Palestine and Israel isn't in total rest. Russia and Ukraine isn't at peace. Yeah, black and white still fight every day. There is still civil unrest, you know. Loads of people hate trans, loads of people hate gays, non-binaries. There's a lot of things in the boiling pot, and that's every day. We can push it to the side, ignore it. It doesn't matter to us. It's not that important. We've got other things to do in our lives. But for some reason, whoever's on the call today, you have a mission. Yeah. And we all uniquely do. So we look at the Three of Wands, and the first thing we see here is this waiting period, and that's significant. That's significant because that's the past energy. There's been a long period of waiting, and I get drought, I get dryness, I get that could be skin. Someone could have a skin issue at this time, really psoriasis, really dry skin, really dry hands, really dry feet, really dry face, cracking skin, cracked lips. I just get a lot of skin. Oh, interesting. I get skin purification. So someone's having their skin dried out, potentially unintentionally, but your skin is being dried out because of purification, I'm getting told. I've never been told that before ever, but we'll take that. So you may need to drink double or triple the amount of water you normally would. You may need to go for a steam. You may need to go for maybe even a luxury massage. You may need to get one of those heat masks, face masks. You know, the even the face masks, like you can get them in clay or different flavors or smells, but they heat your face up. You can get the soft cream ones that's actually a heating product, or you can get the ones that you lay on simply by yourself, or you can get the machine itself, right? But there's something about a real nice heating experience. You can get hand masks, feet masks. Yeah, really nice holistic approaches that someone's going to kind of go through, I get, over the next week or year in your routine. Rose water baths, I get. I also just got Sherman Oaks. So hold that if that resonates with you. Yeah? And as I say Sherman Oaks, I'll say New York as well, because the 24 card is based in New York. Orlando. Maybe significant too. And then I want to say Lanzarote as well. Yeah? Interesting. That just flew out at me. Sherman Oaks, okay? That is an area. So, middle card. There is a surprise announcement, kind of emotion, a flow of authenticity, innocence, joy, enlightenment, something happy, something trippy, something wavy, something vibey, something soothing, something intelligent, something purposeful, something spiritual, something potentially linked to a kundalini rise, something giving your chakras a boost. It's a really gorgeous energy. Take that middle card however you want to take that. That's the Page of Cups. Yeah, but in this image it represents so much more than a simple emotional offering. With the fish jumping out face on, you're being presented something really gorgeous, beautiful, and it's I haven't said effervescent in ages, but that's kind of my word for something that's really bubbling and frothing and gorgeous and bubbly, and it's not quite like a firework that's exploding in your face, but it's rising up. But in this image, it is a little bit like a mini firework just went off right in front of your face in holographic view, and it's gorgeous and beautiful and enlightening, and it's awakening you to a much bigger mission, or helping you align to something really purposeful and gorgeously so. Next is the Hierophant. The Hierophant comes forward with this morality and this integrity, and this is commitment, this is morality, this is kinship, this is fellowship, this is oneness, this is alignment, this is marriage, but this is not necessarily romantic, but take that as that resonates, because I get this offering of love and integrity and one and self to a much bigger picture in reality. And then we look at what's going on with everyone else around you, or what's going on around this situation, what's inferring on this Five of Cups. I'm looking at this like, okay, what's going on here? All of this beauty that's coming from the Page of Cups has created a flow of abundance in a place that was previously dry. Look at the Three of Wands where you were in the past. Look at the Page with all that water behind it and all that water in the cup. So much abundance in the now moment. Whatever has happened, whatever you've been given, whatever you've received, whatever you're giving off, take it as it resonates one way or another. You decide what that page element is for you. Are you giving somebody a firework explosion in their reality, bringing all this water and emotive language to life, and all this love and nurturing effervescence that could be in any area of life? Not screaming romantic here at all. It's much more purpose and mission than it is love and romance here. It's gorgeous, divine. This is divine. This is divine intervention. This is divine timing. With the Hierophant, it takes it to a higher level of commitment, but that could be anywhere in your life. Yeah? But then when we look at the water trailing along what was previously a dry land, this is nourishing for long term. Yeah. But as this nourishes you, them, the other, the community, the ecosystem, this could be about a charity, a school, a investor's pot. I get a school in Sherman Oaks. Oh, I don't know why I'm saying this. Take it as it resonates. Leave it if it doesn't. I'm getting like a school in Sherman Oaks where I don't know how accurate what I'm about to say is now, because I get stuff from the other side or from the divine, and then it crosses over with my own intelligence in the 3D, and that's why sometimes it's easier to just channel and say whatever comes to your fucking mind instead of intervening with thought and personal 3D perspective. But now I'm trying to personally connect the Sherman Oaks to something specific that I know, because now I'm getting the school with it, and all I can get in my head is the ideology of Mark Zuckerberg's support school he created for black people to support them, but then he stopped doing that to move over towards a biotechnology approach in business. I don't know if that's significant to anyone out there, but it gives me a community that was initially supported and were deprived and struggling, but then for some reason them being let go of, or that community being dropped, that community now going into deficit, or that community being disregarded. And I don't know if that means that the mission for you or for them is to support that community or innovate. I don't know. I'm not even going to dive into it. But what I want to say is, with the Three of Cups, let's stay with the Five of Cups. With the Three of Cups spill over, a lot of stuff has fallen out, and there's been a lot of stuff on the wayside. So something's happened and beautiful things have started to flow and nourish the land, but there's still things that are getting left behind. Because for me, the Sherman Oaks story about Mark Zuckerberg, you can Google it. I'm not even sure if it's Sherman Oaks. I think it is. But either way, Los Angeles, I think. Yeah. California. So check that out. But he was investing heavily in a school for minority groups, and I guess there wasn't a massive turnover there. He was doing it for years. It was a great thing, but since the economy shifted, we went Industry 4 and everyone was fighting against DEI, he pulled all funding for that, and that school was set to close. I never followed up and checked on that school and how they were getting on after the fact, or dove any deeper to see if they had any data, stats, statistics, how many people they helped over the years that they were open, who was going to fall short as a result of it. That's the point here. It's about understanding when you pull funding from someone, when you pull back and avoid helping, when you don't stand on the mission, when you advocate for something but then pull away, what are the side effects and what happens as a result of that? Because the direction that Zucker moved into, especially with his corporation burning through billions in the way in which he was, and everything else he was doing, he had to make sacrifices and changes. I'm not saying I agreed with his approaches, but I could see what was going on, especially with the richest man in the world screaming, forget DEI, and the DEI wars were forcing people to choose left or right. Everyone had to stand on their integrity and choose where they were at and what their business accrements were, and whether or not that's a capital agenda or a more leftist, holistic agenda is down to the unique individual. There's no time for me to personally judge this, but identify those factors as predominant influences to what we choose to do in life, what communities we do or don't support and advocate for. I love Elon Musk and a lot of the stuff he does, even though sometimes he's just a bit of a meanie, to different social groups. And even though he absolutely hates trans, and I advocate for trans people, his daughter's trans and he hates her, and I think that's awful. And I represent the non-binary. I support the non-binary because I believe in fluid dynamics. And although I'm a woman, always been a woman, always will be a woman, I really, really do understand non-binary journeys. I believe in the non-binary is what I say. It's a bit of it's not something I outrightly advocate for and scream from the rooftops. It's a unique journey, but I believe in anyone else who identifies with that or goes through that unique journey, because I understand O1 and I understand fluid dynamics and I understand XY chromosomes and I understand yin and yang. I understand the uniqueness of every individual and I understand black and white. I'm also mixed, yeah? And I also know what my dad went through being a half white, half black person. And I've grown up with white family and black family and seen the divide. So I compartmentalize a lot of things. I'm also really neurodiverse, and I also travel to the other side. Yeah. I just told you about how my cognition's been working throughout this whole reading, going over there and from getting information from the divine and the other side, talking to the dead versus talking to you. I am the median split in the conversation, the medium split between two sides of reality. So I feel free and liberated when I get to travel uniquely. But that isn't an easy thing to do when the rest of the world is encouraged to stay grounded in one paradigm. But I believe in multiple dimensions, yeah? So it's about you owning your truth and what you believe in and where you want to go with that. The next card, the Fool, taking that risk to stand on that. What I love about the Fool card is that white dog always represents purity. We had other readings on the channel as well. There's another reading, I think it is Aquarius and Cancer reading, which I believe just came out yesterday. I loved it because the guy in it had a white rose and it was the Fool card as well. If you are being called a selfish prick, or there's someone being really selfish around you, or you're being targeted for the group that you're in, they think that you're being mean and out of order because you're standing on your life purpose and manifesting the life of your dreams, then that could be another reading to give you extra confirmation to just go your way. Yeah? Don't let anyone else rock your boat. Let me in your boat. Let me in your boat is what I'm getting in my head. Let me in your boat. Let me in your boat. You've got space on your boat. You know what's on your boat and you made your boat. Everyone can make their own life raft. Everyone can do whatever they want in their life. You've got your own boat. We're all out at sea here, so get the fuck out off of my boat. It's rude and it's mean, but let me tell you the truth. If I let you in my boat, we get out there and we sink and die, and none of us make it. So the best thing for me, it's not selfish, it's not ignorant, it is wise. There's certain weights. There's a long distance we have to go to. There's rations are prepared. I have a business plan. I have an agenda. I have everything mapped out perfectly well. If you come onto this boat, this ship, this shuttle, this craft, this vehicle, this timeline, this dimension, without your own, you will dethrone all of us here. Because like we say in the black community, we are all kings and queens. We empower ourselves through that narrative. I want to talk about young kings and queens. And then we go to the Queen of Wands as your greatest asset. It's about understanding your magic, because the Queen of Wands is always that manifester for me. That confident, powerful, gorgeous, alchemical queen. Always with that black cat. Always with that magical sentiment. Always with that extra pizzazz that a lot of people won't like. A lot of people are intimidated by the Queen of Wands. Male or female, this is the energy that you're exuding. And this is your greatest asset. Shine. Yeah? I want to sing Shine. Shine. Which is the 9 of Pentacles card in tarot. Available at hermetology.me/music. Link in the description. So our music page where we create gorgeous tarot meaning videos. Short little snippets for you to get a vibe through music, yeah? So go and check that out afterwards. But it's saying you need to shine just the way you are and stand on what you believe in. It matters. I know it's hard to stand on what you believe in sometimes when others don't believe in it, but you've been given an opportunity over the next 24 hours to really dive into that. And whatever has been leaked, if something could have been leaked, literally, like documents, information, progress reports, whatever's been leaked, yeah, it's created a flow where there was previously dry land. So this is amazing. This is a major opportunity in somebody's life. And as a result of it, a lot of people, the 3 cups that are down, it gives me people that are suffering because of the fact that things are flowing now. It's like a land that really, really, really needed water, really needed nourishment, and there was none. And the moment there is water, now loads of other people are down and out and become insignificant, and they're upset about that. But it's the 2 cups that are still standing that are important to me here, because it's the visca piscus. And for me, that's you and your morality, that's you and your mind frame, that's you and your yin and yang, that's you and your left and right, that's you and your integrity, that's you and your mission, that's you and your source code, that's you and your destiny, that's you and the other side, that's you and your ancestors, that's you and the divine, that's you and God, that's you and spirit, that's you and your forever, your higher self. Yeah? This is purpose, this is power, this is truth, this is inner knowing, this is conviction, this is integrity, and this is actualizing it every single day you live and breathe. This is one with you, the divine. You are your greatest asset, you are your greatest power. I am alive and well and in my light today because I chose the other side as an ally. And I didn't do that lightly. I studied the other side enough to understand whether or not it was a bad thing like the others told me it was. My God, the voice I hear in my head, the divine, Brahman, the cosmos, can I trust it? Can I listen? Will it take me somewhere? Will everything that I build at hermetology.me be a lucid, pseudoscientific conspiracy, or will it materialize into more? How will I ever know? I sat down, grounded myself, and believed in me and worked on it, researched it, studied it, inquired about it, investigated it, cried over it, marveled at it, and integrated it into every aspect of who I am today and why I live and breathe. Not everyone's so OTT as me, but that's my freedom and liberation. What's yours? What is your forever story? What is your forever mission? Because you're there and you're connecting the dots and you're becoming one with the infinite version of you that makes this transcend all illusion and be genuinely the truth that you used to dream of, seek out. You're now the absolute master of it. And every day you get a new 24 hours to master it again. And the way in which your life will evolve and ascend and really be what you envision in your mind eye, like it's giving me, you may be used to manifest and it used to take you 4 years, 2 years, 6 weeks to manifest something, to plan it and actualize it. Now, your manifestations are instant, from vision to materialization, instant practically. You don't even need more than 24 hours to bring that to fruition. Yeah? Instant fruition, instant fruition, instant fruition. That's how aligned you are. When life starts to move like that, that's source. That's why they don't want us to be us. Yeah? Spiritually, I'm talking. You're not really encouraged to be. That's why they burn witches at the stake. Because God forbid you manifest in less than 24. Frequently, every day. Breaking all illusion, escaping the matrix. And that's where you're at. And this is a forever practice. A forever philosophy. A forever magic trick. Yeah? A destined path. And there's so much unity, resilience, strength, equality tethered to all of this. This is a really good thing for humanity. Well done. Thank you for your contributions to this earth, because it makes a difference. Never give up, never back down. Always do the right thing based on your integrity. Always trust the voice within. Even if it is a fearful voice that keeps nagging at you, ask it why it's there and what the fuck it wants. Yeah? And the main thing I learned on the journey, a really pivotal point for me, was understanding the difference in the inner voice. It's the very, very, very first voice you have. That's the right voice. For me, at least. The voice that comes after that, and the conversation that occurs after that, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't, maybe I shouldn't, maybe I should. No, that's not a good idea. No, you can't really do that. No, don't bother. All bollocks. It's the very, very first voice you have that says, go and do that. Go left. Go right. Buy that now. Grab all of that. Don't do that. It's the very first one, clean and direct, straight thought in your mind. Tells you what to do. But the moment you doubt it and you go, all the other voices and perspectives start to spin. And that's not the other side. That's your higher self. That's just you and your higher self and the inference, because we are all connected to string theory, chakras, alignment, yeah? D-brains, yeah? There's so much more elements, yeah? I could talk about fabric, I can talk about quantum mechanics, I can talk about neurocognition, I could talk about quantum psychology here, which isn't even a really real thing. There's only a tiny piece of work out on quantum psychology coined by an independent who's not even really known, who's got like 1 or 2 books out. But we are going that way when it comes to quantum aspects of psychology and neurocognition, and biotechnology as well is really opening the door. It's humongous right now. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful shifts in biotech. Beautiful time to be alive and be yourself, you know. Beautiful time to find you and go with the flow. I feel so humbled and grateful to even deliver a message like this to you today, guys. I feel so grateful to be alive and be at peace and be happy. And I'll say this on the way out, and only because it connects, because it talks about 2 very different social groups. So I'll say this really quickly and leave. I watched a episode of Wife Swap, accidentally showed up on the timeline, and every now and then I'm neuro, I like stuff in the background. My brain needs extra stimulation sometimes, and then sometimes none whatsoever. So we go back and forth with what keeps me going when I'm high functioning. I was watching Wife Swap nonetheless, and it was a military family, far right, with a Rastafarian white family, far left, if you want to say it like that. The white Rasta family, worshipping Jah, had £3 in their bank account. And the other family were just going around deciding what they wanted to do to set up their home theatre. Yeah. No issues around race here, which is why I keep saying white Rasta family, because everybody's white here. So we can remove race off the table and look at religion as culture and wealth versus deprivation on the spectrum of difference here. The socio-economics are always significant in relation to the demographic. Yeah. Rewind that. So, watching that, it really made me go, wow. Where am I on the spectrum more than anything else? It made me reflect on how much I believed in Jah, how much I believed in charity, how much I believed in living more humbly versus the military lifestyle. And actually, I've kind of grown up with a very authoritarian approach in business. I've been raised in quite an authoritarian kind of home environment. And I am that kind of dictator person in mission, like a leader, that one of those kind of roles where I kind of dictate what we're going to do, or delegate. We're going to do this, we're going to do that, let's do this, move that out of the way. Like, I'm quite that kind of person. But on the other side, I am a very, very free spirit, and I want people to be free. So when someone has to govern and take control, I will. But the Jah nature of he kept saying Jah will provide, Jah will provide, Jah will provide. And the woman's going, you need to go and get a job. You've got no money. All your kids sleep in one room. And they could have a better life. You're waiting for a neighbour to bring you food. You're living off charity. And it sat with me because I've been through homelessness, and I have had a very humble and withdrawn relationship with money from a very early age in my spirituality because of my childhood, and money was used as a weapon and in an abusive way. And I found it incredibly toxic growing up. So it made me more and more spiritual. And I used to look at money as a really, really negative thing. It was fascinating to watch that man have his relationship with Jar, and then look at the military side of the family, or saying the opposite, and me knowing what I do now in my career. Apologies for any background noise. The cats have been in and out of all of the rooms, opening all doors, walking in and out, making a lot of noise and rustling all around, so apologies. Nonetheless, the point of me telling you this, here we go again, guys. Do you mind walking in and out of all the rooms, opening every door behind you? No, they don't. Apologies. The cats are now going at it. The point is, we all evolve and grow. We should be evolving. Our perspectives should change and grow with us. So the example I used about Mark Zuckerberg pulling away from funding whoever he was funding, we change our perspectives and opinions or do things in different ways, but how are we experimenting, explaining, identifying, assessing, choosing, grounding these shifts and changes? Because you see these 3 cups that we spoke about that was spilled and people were sad about it. How could we really truly ground their intelligence and inner knowing about why we've done what we've done? Can we really show them and prove to them that there is another way? I will say, but I say this loosely because I can't remember why I said it, but with the Zuckerberg thing, I said in my mind, okay, I see exactly what he's doing, and if he does this correctly, then he has a chance to open the doorway over here, but then synchronistically over a short window of time, a longer window of time, go back over there and create some kind of triangle where he brings them back in. So I see things quite through geometry. So that means he's changing the goalposts, but he is connecting the dots like a dot to dot. He's removing that school out of the way because he's connecting what are heavier and, in his opinion, more important dots. In relation to the far right, he's making the right choice. But that left he's just left out is really important. Yeah? So is that a left angle? While he's gone to pick up the right angle? Can we say it like that? Can we look at life and humanity and demographics like that? Socioeconomics, we probably shouldn't, because that's so removed from Jar, isn't it? But on the other side, we still need to understand that money is a real thing. I spent a lot of my life with minimal money so I could have the privilege to do what I do now. Learn, study, focus on my education, become that ethnographic researcher, be the shaman that I am today. I could never take away from all the experiences I had. And I was still working freelancing. I just don't mean I was slugging away at a 9 to 5 for years and years and years. I was still studying. I've worked consecutively. I work crazily, but not get paid for it. And a lot of stuff I've done for charity. I've worked for charities. I've done a lot of stuff and not got money for it. But it was for it was for the Jar relationship, if we can say it like that. Now I've evolved and I'm like, okay, I understand that Jar is integrated into my heart and soul and nourishes my sacral every day, but now I actually need to accrue wealth. And actually now my relationship with money is very enlightened, and it's no longer a thing where the left denounce it and we live off a lot less. But no, let's nourish it and turn it into and flourish it and turn it into a lot more wealth, net and abundance, because actually everybody on the left needs it now, and we all need to come together to flourish each other, because that drought we've all been in, and now the water's running through the drought. A lot of people are sad, but a lot of people need that water. Yeah? That person getting in the boat and saying, no, you can't come with me, they're going to get a lot further on their own, and they're going to be able to catch a lot more fish and bring it back for the people. But we put a load of people in the boat and all escape and leave. No one's going to come back with anything good. Yeah? It's like Moana. Moana was not supposed to leave beyond the reef. But she did. Because she was really a voyager. And she was listening to her ancestors. And she was listening to her passed on Nan. I relate to that story really deeply. I don't know who this story's for. I don't know if it will make sense. I feel like I jibber-jabbered all the way through that. But I want to send you love, light and healing. And I want you to respect your unique journey. And don't put judgments on yourself for the choices that you have made. Understand everything connects in time. I just want to say, the only thing I would say is be careful about what you let go of. And what the ricochet effects of that is. Because now I want to talk to Mark Zuckerberg and be like, just be careful that you let that ecosystem go. What happens to them now? Yeah? Because we don't want to let communities fall to the floor. But if you're going over there to collect this and connect the dots here and do that and create a triangle and eventually come back and put them back into that ecosystem or create that nourishing environment in another way, then understand that. And what the ricochet effects are. Yeah? I get that in regards to what I've done in my career as well. I stopped what I was doing and a lot of aspects of my business, and I repeatedly shifted goalposts in business to get to where I'm at today. And everything I'm building with her metaverse makes it a really cohesive whole, that all the areas that I had to kind of, and communities I couldn't stay in as an ethnographic researcher, yeah, doing that in-depth experiment online and connecting with beautiful souls, as much as I would like to stay in that community and nourish those relationships and stay on Zooms and WhatsApps and DMs and phone calls and keep reading tarot and keep building personalized bonds, I have to keep traveling. And I have to create some kind of infrastructure, what I now identify as a binary scaffolding, which I learned from developmental psychology, to encompass an ecosystem that supports other ecosystems and communities so we can all flourish. I couldn't even say that in simple terms before. I really struggled. And I struggled leaving so many people I love behind to get to this point in my life and career, who didn't understand why they couldn't get in my boat, who didn't like the fact that there was now a stream running through a previously dry land. Yeah? So this is a lot of metaphors and really personal today. I want to remind you to go and watch Jane Elliott. I'm going to watch them all again. I'm probably going to cry watching them as well. It's been a long time since I've gone there. But it was really, really important to me. Race relations have always been a really, really important thing to me personally. And to see Jane Elliott tackle an issue like that through Brown Eyes, Blue Eyes was just beautiful. It was really just aspirational. It was nice to know that there was a white person out there who was really standing up for black injustice. And the way she went about it, doing it for children, and she didn't make it about race. She just used the premise of eye colour and privilege in a really interesting way, which was incredibly wise as someone who works with children to even do an experiment like that, you know. But back in those days it was different and you were allowed to do those kind of things. But it fascinated me, it really did. And it stuck with me. And she connects with some of those children in adulthood, and they share their experience and what they remember about it. And when you do things like that in any kind of experiment, in any walk of life, you change lives, and you set a precedence for healthier, more integritous humans on the planet, and you eradicate toxicity and shadow and discrimination and prejudice, and reduce racism and inequalities in pay and religion and gender and sex, and do you know what I mean? We're breaking molds and boundaries here, okay? And once again, I want to speak about Bitcoin and Ethereum, the difference in money and cash and digital money and credit cards and banks, and centralized and decentralized. It's about finding your own unique way of going, and understanding that there's always going to be an opposer or a piece of the pie that won't be filled. by bias. So inclusion with integrity and morals is always going to be the way. Yeah? So I hope that makes sense. Stay conscious, guys. Love and light.